Hey everybody, Robert with RC Archery. In today's Tuesday's tip of the week, number 91, we are going to be going over dual moon hinge releases and setting them up. I'm going to go over my process to help you understand how to use both moons in a safe manner, and also just my thought process behind what I am looking for with a hinge release to make your setup a lot easier and to give you some guidance on how to get started with these. Let's get going, guys. All right, first things first, let's get this unboxed. So this is Nock Archery 2 Smooth hinge release. This is their hinge that they've designed and made in conjunction with Carter Releases. And cool, quick story. I actually had a part in naming this accidentally, so it's pretty cool. They, well, I say they, John Dudley made a slip on a podcast years and years ago before this release came out that he was making a hinge release, and I quickly put together a crude design on what I thought it would look like and how I thought it would be set up. Basically, I took a total control and photoshopped it, made it a 2-finger release. So pretty cool that's kind of how it all worked out or whatnot. He talked about that on a couple of his podcasts, and I guess it's about time that I grab one of these that I keep. So we've got this set up, and like I was saying before, it's a dual moon hinge. This is not the only release that you can buy like this. The UltraView Hinge 2 is this way. There's multiple releases from Carter that they have that all have the dual moons, and there's others as well. And essentially what it is as you can see here, there's 2 different moons, left and right. I'll actually take out some of these Allen wrenches that we'll need while we're doing this, and I'll kind of point to things and let you see it. But there is 2 different moons. So this moon that's here on the left-hand side, looking at this release, that moon is going to be set up for the click shelf. So once the hook that rolls over this gets past this part of the moon that's up here, then that's when you hear the click. And then this moon over here on the right side, this is what you're going to control in order to have the release with total travel before it opens up. Super cool design. I like this because it allows you to have full control over the way that you want this thing to work. So here's my thought process and how I am going to use this and start setting this up with you. I am going to set this up to where this second moon for the speed here is really cold, to where I can come down on this release. I really don't have to worry about it firing. And then from there, I'm going to use this moon on the left here to section it to have the click happen when I would like it to fire. So I'm going to start at that process. We're going to get that set up, and then I will fine tune it, and I will talk you through what I am looking for and how I want things to feel while I'm doing that. All right, when we're doing any kind of adjustments on releases, thumb releases, hinge releases, resistance, whatever it may be, I really recommend some sort of a string trainer. You can build your own simply out of just yarn, string, D-loop material, whatever you want to do. You can buy one. Whatever it is. This is an original Morin trainer that I've had for years and years and years that are broke. Still works just fine for this. And the reason I say start out with one of these is it's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about drawing your bow back, complicating things with form, premature arrow releases, something like that happening. So this is a lot safer. When I'm shooting this hinge, there's 2 thought processes that I have on what I'm looking for overall movement. The first one is I want it to get to a click when it balances out in my hand, and it almost fully balances between the index and this middle finger, the tension between the 2. The cool thing about this release, and a lot of hinge releases are made this way, but specifically this one, is you'll see the index finger here is lower than our middle finger and this little 3rd finger nub that goes on the edge here when it's hooked to a D-loop. Because of that, this release, everything that is designed about it, because it's a hinge, is designed to make it naturally want to rotate. So if I can get out of its way, it's a lot easier to let this mechanical device just do its thing. So you can do that by having a lot of tension on just the index, drawing it back, getting your middle, your ring finger, or just the middle finger if you want to shoot it that way, into that release, and then just relaxing that index finger until it fires. Or you can get a little bit of excess tension in the outer fingers and let it roll until it almost gets to where it wants to balance. And when I say balance, I essentially mean that it's balancing and it's here and it doesn't want to keep rocking and moving. It's just getting to a point where it's naturally sitting in between the index and the middle finger, and it's sitting there and it's good. If we can get it prior to that, when the click happens, and then relax through to that balance point, then we can get this release to go off. So I'm playing with both of those methods, and I think everybody should test them and see what works for you. My current hinge setup that I have is set up with the index finger being very stiff and very heavy, and then I am barely have anything with the outer fingers on the release, and then I'm just relaxing through that index and letting it go. With this release, I'm gonna set it up to where it's almost at that balance point to where I get the outer fingers engaged a little more and get the index relaxed a little more. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you have all that weight on your index, you can have a tendency to hang up on that index. And when we say that, it just means that we're not letting the tension out of it well enough when we're under tension or pressure or something's going on, and the shot's just not firing as fast as it should. So when I'm setting this up, what I'm doing with this is I'm drawing it back with my string trainer, getting myself into anchor, and then feeling it by relaxing the index finger and letting these outer fingers take some of the pressure. And then I'll do that one more time without talking so you can see where it's balancing out versus what it sounds like here. So where it's clicking right now is about where I think I'm going to want it to fire. Now when I get it on a bow, it's going to be a little bit different. So knowing that I am close here and knowing that I don't have to worry about additional movement from there, firing the release because of the way that I adjust that second moon, I'm going to transfer it over to my bow and feel what I am getting actually with the bow in hand and getting the full draw. One thing I'll say when we're doing this, load an arrow, do everything like you would, and plan for the bow to fire. In case something happens, it's better to be safe than sorry. All right, I'm gonna let down. I'm gonna do that again. Probably saw me flinch. It's not clicking where it normally would with my other release. Definitely is something to get used to. But on that note, if you're using a click, you don't want to have that click going off in the middle of your shot cycle. I've talked about this on other hinge videos and shot sequence and execution videos, but as a reminder, that click is a setup point for your anchor and your finger positions and the weight on them. That's all we're using it for. Once you get to a point to where you know where that is and you're comfortable with it, you really won't flinch a whole lot, if at all. All right, from here, I'm pretty comfortable where it's at for the click. So I'm going to start adjusting that second moon for the release travel after that click. And when I do this, I'm gonna leave it long to begin with. I'm not going to make it really close to where the click is and adjustment on it to where it's very close. I will get to that point and make it a short shelf length if you wanna look at it that way, because it's going from one moon to the other. But right now, I really just wanna get comfortable with feeling myself get to that click and make sure the balance point is correct, and then working through that balance point to get to the edge of it and just make sure everything feels right, and then just make micro adjustments on the release to adjust it to where the bow will actually fire. All right, in order to adjust things with the Too Smooth, there's a set screw on the bottom side of the release here. You want to make sure that this is loose, and not tight on the release. So it's here, you just want to back it off a little bit. You don't have to do it a ton. You're going to take the tiny Allen key, put it on the right moon, and for now, I'm going to set it like this.
and just see what that feels like. I don't know if that's, my guess is it's too long. It's a really long click shelf. But I'm gonna set it this way first. I'm gonna shoot it, and then I'm gonna come back here and I will slow this down a little bit, or speed it up rather a little bit, until everything feels secure. When I've got it adjusted like this before I shoot it, I'm just gonna go back through here and tighten all this back down. I'm not gonna over tighten it. I'm just gonna tighten it enough to where it's snug on there for now. All right, so here is not the final product, but 3/4 of the way there. So this is what I've got it set up right now with the click speed. Now this shelf here is controlling the layback of the head of the release. So you can see that there's some marks here, and on this back side, you can kind of gauge off of where you're at. But the click moon is this section, and then my moon that's working for the travel is over here. For right now, I'm gonna leave it like this. It may be a little bit long still, but I'm gonna actually fine tune this by shooting at a target, shooting indoor rounds, outdoor rounds, groups, whatever game you're using, see how you're doing. And the essential thing here is you wanna make sure that you're shooting your shot process no matter what, and that if you're finding that it's a little slow or a little fast, you're making adjustments based off that. But for now, this is what I'm gonna do. I actually am trying to mimic what I'm getting from my thumb release here. So I'm shooting a just because for a thumb release. Now, for comparison's sake and size, you can see that they're similar. I would say that the body of the Too Smooth is probably more like the just cuz instead of the just because the just because here has more of a sweep and the just cuz is more flat. Same thing with the inside of them here. The just because is pretty flat and wide, and the just cuz in this Too Smooth has got a thinner flat area here, a little bit more roundness to it. I like both. I'm playing with both, but the thing is I want to make a consistent shot timing between both of these releases to where I can feel similar, I guess is the best way to put it, and just shoot it in different manners. So just depends on what I need that day, different shot styles, different timing, different feel, all that good stuff. But this is where I'm going to set this up for right now, and then I will shoot some more groups with it and tune this a little bit more and get it dialed in for the shot timing that I'm wanting.
All right, coming out in the future, I will have a review more so over this Nock on Too Smooth by Carter. I want to get some string time behind it, shoot it, try to learn a little bit more, feel it out, see how it's doing compared to my Fulcrum Flex that I've used for years now, see how it feels compared to my thumb release, and just get a better comparison on it. That video, when I do that review, will first come out for my members only content. You will get the review first. I'll give you the insights on what I'm doing, and then the following week or two after that, I'll release it to everybody so that everybody can view it too. If you'd like to see that ahead of time, or if you'd like to see any other members only content where I go deeper in depth over these certain subjects, check out that link down below in the description. It'll give you the two options you get, whether you want some free coaching from me or just want the videos. And it helps support the channel so I can do stuff like this, give you some content on different releases, different equipment, different shooting styles, things like that. But appreciate everybody watching this video. A little bit different than our normal Tuesday's tip of the week, but I wanted to go over these 2 moon style hinges because I've had several people asking me about them recently with some of the popularity that they've had, and I wanted to give you my take on how I would set them up and what they look like when I shoot them. Thank you again. I'll see you soon.